Welcome to Keep What You Earn, your judgment and jargon free zone for entrepreneurs of all levels. Get ready to learn how to scale your business, save money in taxes, and create a business that grows your wealth. If it feels like the financial side of business is like eating your vegetables, well, then think of this podcast as the ranch dressing to make the process a little more enjoyable. My name is Shannon Weinstein. I'm a CPA and business owner on a mission to simplify money and empower others through knowledge. I hope this episode inspires you to take action, but remember that the information we share is for educational purposes only and is not individual tax advice. Now that we got that out of the way, let's start the show. In the past couple of years, I've had, I'll say, the privilege of having multiple employees. We'll say, I have a team of about 6 now, but if you count every person who's come in and out of my company, I've had close to, I wanna say 12 or 13, maybe more. And if you count, like, long-term contractors and things like that, probably closer to 15. That's not a lot of people, but I'll tell you that as a business owner, that, you know, every single one of them teaches me something new, whether they stay or whether they leave or, you know, whether they're asked to leave. All of the different experiences have contributed to a very clear picture of how we manage our team, core values, SOPs, and all of that. And I think that I look back on when I first hired and I realized, like, I knew absolutely nothing about hiring people. I had worked in corporate America and I was a hiring manager. I had hired 9 people in my role at the firm or at my corporate job. I had hired over 9 people. And I'll tell you, nothing compares to when you are the business owner because when I hired those 9 people, I had a canned set of interview questions. I had somebody telling me what to offer them and what my range was. I had somebody approving all of the screenings, like the call screenings. So I had a very guided process. When you are a business owner, you have nothing. You have no basis to go off of. And I was lucky that I had the experience of hiring 9 people. A lot of people have no experience with this. So hiring is really kind of terrifying when you think about it. Like, forget the fact that it's probably expensive to hire someone and to be responsible for their full-time job, which is a lot of pressure. But also on top of things, like you need to have a process to interview people. You got to make sure you're compliant with everything. It can be just such a sense of overwhelm, but I got you. I'm here. I'm gonna tell you that, like, I did this. I went through the same thing as you. I came out the other side like, yes, more employees. I love this. Just lather, rinse, repeat this process, and we've gotten so much better at it. And today I wanna tell you about it's kind of on my mind lately, this employee expectation gap. This is a common problem I've always seen throughout my whole career. But it's one thing that I'm working on in my company consciously because I've seen it so much in other companies. And that is just the gap between your expectation and the employee's expectation and the employee's understanding of your expectation. So I don't know why, but we tend to assume everybody else is a mind reader. And we also tend to assume that everybody else knows what our vision is or what our why is or that they share it. And I'm here to tell you right now that most of the time, those conditions are not actually true. So it's up to you to reiterate over and over again what the vision and values are, what you're here to see demonstrated, what you want your employees to do, how you want them to behave, and provide frameworks, provide guidelines for them. I would say at the top level, you've got the core values. And those, can be a little bit conceptual more than they are applicable, depending on how you present them. So, I'm going to give you an example of one of ours. We have a core value called reliability. We actually have a core value, and then we have the value statement, which is reliability, AKA, it's almost like the definition. Like, think about like a Merriam Webster of like how we define that in our company. So, I have reliability, and then it says, doing what you say you're gonna do when you say you're gonna do it. And you would read that and go, "Okay, that makes sense." But you know what violates reliability? When you do something sooner than a deadline for a client, or when you don't adjust the deadline to meet when you're really gonna go do it, or when you do it later than a deadline, or you don't proactively communicate when the deadline's going to change or you can't get something done on time. And what reliability is designed to do is to build trust and to basically say, I will always keep you on the pulse of what's actually going to happen so that there's no ambiguity and no confusion. And the reliability core value is key because it translates to our clients. It translates to we will do what we say we're going to do. So we know, so you know, if you say, "Hey, Shan, can you handle this letter that I got in the mail?" And I say, "I got you." You know that you don't have to follow up with me. You know that I do got you. I got you and I'll take care of it. But the expectations with employees, you have to make it clear that this is a deal breaker, what the deal breaker deadlines are, what the deal breaker tasks are. Because if you don't, then they'll take cues from other sources. They'll also pull in experience from other jobs. And I actually really admire Layla Hormozy talks about this. And I actually, when I had the chance to go to Vegas, I asked her about this. And it was around deprogramming old behaviors because what you have to realize is that your employee is not coming to you with a clean slate, mind erased Men in Black style. They're coming to your company with all the friggin' baggage of the toxic work environments, of the, ways they were treated, of the jargon, of the language, of the late nights or the hours or the responsiveness, and even like the email style of where they used to work. And it's not their fault. That's how they're conditioned, right? They don't know your style yet. So when they walk into your company, you have to make it abundantly clear what you stand for, what you expect, how you expect people to behave, act right, and so on. And it's not micromanaging. I think if you can put it out into the air and say, hey, my goal is not to micromanage you. My goal is just to make you keenly aware of all of the different elements of what we expect here. And I would like to meet with you daily for your first 2, maybe 3 weeks of the role, just to go through our approaches to certain common scenarios, common issues, common problems that you may encounter and how to handle them properly. That would go a long way because I think the most friction I've felt as a founder and as an employer has been when we I think that we're clear on the instructions and then suddenly what happens is something goes sideways, they don't follow what I think the procedure is or they don't go back to what we had provided guidance on and what I realize is, oh, I did not emphasize that enough or I didn't coach that through enough. And you honestly have to without really don't give yourself a hard time, but understand that every employee failure is a reflection on you mostly. And you have to take ownership and responsibility of them being empowered and understanding what their instructions are. Nobody wants to do a bad job. So if everyone thinks they're doing a good job and you don't, then you have a responsibility to communicate that. But the issue is that when you communicate these expectations, you also have to deprogram these bad habits. And it's really difficult because you have to make it clear not only what you stand for, what your vision is, what your why is, and where they fit into that, but also what you're not. And that's been a big part of what we do in onboarding now is we're talking about what you may have experienced in the past or what I experienced in the past and why we are taking a very different approach to it than that. And personally, it's the like asking for permission. I say one thing we don't do here is we don't ask for permission not to work. And that's gonna sound really funny to say that out loud, but, like, how many times have you tried to, like you kinda treat it like you're in 3rd grade asking to go to the bathroom, like, "What the hell? Like, what happened to us?" Where we have to, like, raise our hand and say, "Hi, can I go home? Hey, do you mind if I log off at 4? Hey, do you mind if I run out to the grocery store in the middle of the day? Hey, I have a doctor's appointment. Do you mind if I take the day off or hey take a half day?" We're asking for permission when we are working or not, and I realize that some jobs lend themselves to they have to do that. But in many cases, we're still kind of conditioned into thinking we have to do that in all scenarios. And it was funny for me to hire people into our company that maybe had that experience before and still have those habits. And I even laugh and I say, oh, old habits die hard, right? Why are you asking me permission to simply not work? Just don't work. Like, just get your tasks done another day. Or let's talk about maybe delegating them to someone else if you can't do them that day. And they just have this look on their face like, wait, what? Like, yeah, just what's important though is that the work gets done and anything time sensitive gets done on time So as long as that's happening, I really could care less who's working when.
Hey, it's Shannon, and I wanted to remind you that the love language of podcasters is reviews. If you wouldn't mind taking a couple of seconds just to leave us a review if you're enjoying this show, we would really, really appreciate it. Okay, back to the show.
And when you have that type of culture, and I again realize that not everyone has that ability. It's the nature of our job that we can do this, but it's really important to trust your people and to show that you trust them, because when those expectations are not being met, when your expectations are higher than what they're able to produce, then what's going to happen is you're going to come to resent them and you're not going to trust them because you feel like your expectations aren't being met. So now you need to hover over them and give them guidance constantly. And that leads to micromanaging, or at least the sense of micromanaging. And actually, we just went through a hiring process, and Courtney was interviewing people as well. And we were kind of talking about, my style, because she was kind of that second round interview that could tell you, hey, here's what it's like to work with Shannon, like real talk, which is fun. By the way, great interview tactic. If you have like a right-hand person or somebody who knows you really well, have them interview candidates. If the candidate is going to work with you, have somebody else interview them as well, and specifically have them prompt the candidate to say, "Do you have any questions about working with so and so?" In this case with Shannon. And Courtney knows me to the T, so she was able to tell them like, "Hey, here's some of the little quirky things about Shannon, and here's what you need to look out for, and here's what would make you ultra successful in this role because here's how she operates." And again, just being the founder doesn't mean everybody has to do what works for me, but if you need something from me, if there's a call to action on my plate, I can tell you right now that if you want that done faster, and this goes for anybody, if you want your call to action done faster, really put yourself in the recipient's shoes and make sure that it's really clear what you're asking. And this goes back to employees as well. You really have to provide all of the guidance that you can in order to help them succeed. If you haven't articulated your expectations in an effective way, whether that be through SOPs or through training or anything like that, then it's going to be really hard for them to grasp. The other big mistake I've always made with hiring and training has been not really emphasizing the why. Like, I've described the why behind what they're doing, but it doesn't sink in. They don't get it. And it's always been a struggle for me when they don't get the why, but they still have to go do the what with the how. We always start with why, then what, then how. So, like, why are we doing this? What do we need to go do? How do we actually go do that? And go down from a level of broad strokes of guidance to the granularity of the actual tactics. And what I found with employees is that, unless you give them the why, the what could suck, because if they don't know the why, then they really don't know what satisfies the why, and they don't know how to make the what. So it's so important to enroll your employees in your vision and make sure they're really clear on what good looks like for them. Make sure they really know what good looks like for them. Because if you don't, then you're the only one knowing what score method you're using. Imagine if, like, you go to the Olympics and the judges have their own scoring method, but they don't share it with you. And you find out if you won gold, silver, or bronze, but you never find out what your score was. And feeling like that could compare to working in a company where you're not given any actual feedback or tangible insights as to what you are meeting or exceed expectations on. And that's a problem. And that's a problem I've always had in my career. So be the change that we really need in entrepreneurship. And when you're investing in your people, really invest in thinking about the ideas that you have on being a clearer communicator and how to articulate your expectations a little bit better to manage that gap. It will pay off so, so, so much in dividends for the future.
One of the best decisions I made in business that saved me countless headaches was getting expert advice in HR as I started growing my team. With so many compliance requirements, especially for virtual businesses, I could never get caught up on everything I needed to learn or I was supposed to do. That's where Jackie and her team at People Principles came in with their signature HR audit for only $349. But get this, if you use code Shannon50, you get $50 off of that. So it's only $300. You'll have peace of mind by the end of the week with this exclusive offer as a Keep What You Earn listener. Here's what's included: a step-by-step self-assessment, a 60-minute strategy session with their HR experts to ensure that you're in compliance and you have a plan for getting on track, an HR template to keep all this important stuff in one place, and a roadmap of the top 3 best practices to implement right now in the next 6 to 12 months. Again, use code Shannon50 to take $50 off of this assessment. Do not miss out on this opportunity or let unintentional HR mistakes derail your business growth. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on your podcast platform. This small action goes a long way for podcasters to get our message heard by more business owners just like you. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to information about our guests and ways to get in touch with me. We'll see you on the next episode.